interested in becoming a social media manager? Well, let's break down the exact strategies that you need in order to get your feet wet in digital marketing. In this video, I'm going to go over exactly how to get started as a freelancer and get your first few clients, or the exact strategies you need to land your first role in the corporate space. Let's get started. Okay, so the first question is, what does a social media manager actually do on a day-to-day basis? So the first main task is creative copywriting, being able to use the right language to sell products or services using the right psychology, or just storytelling on a day-to-day basis. As a social media manager, we are literally the voice of a brand online, and a lot of our clients have thousands of followers. So being able to create a brand voice and articulate our message and our values and sell to our audience on a consistent basis is a big bulk of our jobs as social media managers. Next task is shooting content, and this is probably one of my favorite tasks. Being able to get invited out to different networking events, different social events, going to different job fairs, or whatever you need to do depending on your client, and capturing content for them. As a freelancer, I work with a lot of med spas and daycares, and so showing up to these establishments and capturing all of the content that I can later fill in on a cohesive content calendar is a lot of fun. So being able to use your iPhone is best, especially when it comes to creating TikToks and Reels, but also maybe going live at different events or helping your client to be able to capture content to schedule out throughout the months. So you really don't need a professional camera or a lot of experience with like fancy editing. If you use different tools like Canva, CapCut, and there's a million others in the App Store, you'll be able to go ahead and capture some really good lifestyle content for your clients. As a social media manager, we are not just posting aimlessly online, especially if you are working for a corporate position or a corporate company. You have to have your content scheduled out in advance. Right now, I like to schedule out all of my clients' content a month in advance. That way I have some wiggle room in case anything comes up. But being able to keep the four buckets of content in mind, so you're entertaining, you're selling, you're promoting, and you're engaging. Keeping in mind that you have to sell online, but you also have to keep up with the community. You have to be growing your audience while still converting your followers into customers. You have to make sure for your client you are building their authority online, and you are structuring the way that their followers engage on the many different platforms. Right now we have so many platforms to keep up with, like Threads versus Twitter, or TikTok versus Instagram Reels, and Facebook versus Instagram. Or do you want to create an entire YouTube series, or should you bring that over to Facebook? Do you use Pinterest, or are you on other third-party websites? As a social media manager, you need to keep each and every platform in mind and then have a different strategy for each platform. You also need to make sure that new followers are joining new platforms instead of the same people just following you from each platform. There's a lot of thought that goes into it, and there's a lot of intention that needs to go behind posting and content planning. The strategy is always to increase your followers, convert your followers into customers, gain reoccurring customers, but also building authority. A brand also has to be authentic and true to its values. You have to highlight the company culture. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So just keep in mind, when it comes to being a social media manager, that content strategy, it's what's going to make you the most money in the corporate space and keep your clients happy as a freelancer. The next task is community management, and this is such a fun role, especially if you are just getting into digital marketing. So maybe a a hair brand wants to hire a social media manager to engage in private Facebook groups. Maybe you work for a smaller company offering products and they want you to go in and respond to all of the Google reviews. You can also work for a larger corporate company and really keep their reoccurring customers engaged, or you have to reach out to their previous customers to get those customer testimonials and reviews. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. But if you are starting out as a new social media manager in the field, I highly recommend getting a role as a community manager. If you're extroverted, if you enjoy organic conversations, if your personality is very authentic on camera, you can be the voice of a private community and you can keep the conversation going for a brand. That way their engagement increases and they can also keep the momentum going for any new product drops in the future. All right, so the last task is analyzing and reporting on content performance. And in the corporate space, it's so important for corporate companies to see their return on investment. So since you are delivering and publishing so much content and building these online communities and selling to these digital audiences, of course your client is going to want to see their ROI. So the biggest thing is to look at all of your analytics for the month. Wherever you are getting the most traffic is where you need to be dumping more money into and putting more of your marketing efforts into. And whichever platform isn't performing the best or the strongest, maybe you're not getting a lot of engagement on Twitter, or maybe your Threads account is really dry, you can either test and repeat, or you can completely stop on a platform that just does not resonate with your brand, and that's okay. So test and learn is so important as a social media manager, especially since marketing and the digital space is always evolving and changing. Being up to date as possible and knowing when to pivot, I would say, is such a good character trait to have when it comes to being a social media marketer. Need to be ready to adjust your content plan on a dime. There has been a lot of social media crisis. Let's just say, a Black-owned company gets caught in a wildfire over a very controversial subject, or a CEO of a corporate company can be caught in a scandal. Something can be happening in pop culture where whatever you're saying, whatever joke that you're using is just extremely inappropriate and offensive. You need to be able to switch up your content plan on a drop of a dime. I also want to circle back around having good communication skills and copywriting skills. You have to remember that as a social media manager, you will be the face of the company. If you are going live and creating video content for any brand, you also have to keep in mind that we are sharing the brand's messages. And so a lot of people, especially if you are managing an account with a lot of followers, they are looking to you to talk about what's next, what's to come, and what to look forward to. So making sure that you are keeping all races in mind, all genders in mind, all ages in mind, so you're not offending anyone. It's really important, but also keeping in mind that everyone needs to feel included. And that includes transgenders, people from different countries, different nationalities. I mean, it's so easy to get caught offending someone, a joke being a little risky, or something just not aging well in the digital space. Next tip is that you need to be self-motivated at all times. So as a social media manager, we are making a lot of quick decisions, and these decisions are put out in the forefront, right? All of our content is published for thousands of followers to see. So just make sure that you are very motivated and self-directed, that you feel confident to make very smart decisions, and you can stand behind the decisions that you make. So before you go ahead and decide to approve a piece of content or go live, make sure that you cross all of your T's and you dot all of your I's. Now I want to go over the strategies on how to get started. So first things first, you need to get experience. You actually don't need a degree to start as a social media manager. It's more so about your experience and your portfolio, and lastly, who you know. So let's go over all three so I can give you some strategies on exactly what you need to do. So getting experience, I would start off with all of your friends and family who own brands. If you have a friend who is an influencer, you have a cousin who does music, maybe you know someone who does hair or runs a salon, if you know any lash techs or anyone with a t-shirt line, I would pitch myself and offer your services for free. That way you can start building your portfolio. We'll get to that next. But while you are working for free, I highly recommend getting your processes together and understanding exactly what tasks you really enjoy. So getting your experience is number one, and I will go to all of my family and friends. Even if you find a good internship, I think that'll help you a lot. Next, as you are working for free, be sure to screenshot everything. So all of your published posts, all of the engagement, once you go over their metrics at the end of the month, be sure to screenshot everything. When I was starting out at a new role in the corporate space, I would screenshot all of their social media accounts before I got started, and each and every month I would take an updated screenshot. That way I can visually see the growth myself. So does the Instagram feed look a lot more appealing and alive? Does the Facebook pages look more fun, full of personality? Is my TikTok, growing as I'm going? You want to be sure to have that social proof. So whether you want to pitch to a new client as a freelancer or get a new job in the corporate space, you have more than enough in your portfolio. And this is exactly what creating a portfolio is all about. It's a collection of experiences. So you can be able to tell a story based off what you were able to achieve for each brand. And don't forget, guys, the growth can be very small as long as your client can see, especially in the corporate space, that you are able to juggle multiple accounts at a time. You're able to grow a following. Okay, the next thing is to network. I highly recommend going to any marketing events, tech events, any events along the lines of pop culture, making sure you're getting your name and your face out there. But there aren't enough behind the scenes content for wedding planners and DJs or party planners. And that's just a quick tip on how to get your first freelance client. Okay, so to sum it all up, you want to constantly be up to date with what's going on in the social media space. You want to gain experience first, use that experience to build out your portfolio. You want to network in your local city, and then you want to package all of your services up. So you'll have your knowledge, you'll have your experience, you'll have your portfolio, and then you'll have your network, okay? That's literally all it takes to become a social media manager. Last tips before I go, I actually train and recruit social media managers for a living. So here are some of the main topics that we talk about a lot in my private program. First things first, you should absolutely be working on your personal brand. Whether you want to become an expert in social media on LinkedIn or become an expert in your field on TikTok, those two platforms are going to be your money makers, generating the most amount of traffic and leads if you want to freelance. I also tell all of my students that they absolutely should be going to their local social events. So whether the events are for marketing, social media, pop culture, or tech, they should be in the building. I am going to Invest Fest with one of my students, and I'm really excited to show her how to network and pitch herself on the spot. Stay tuned for that video. So if you want to triple your income, I train all of my students on how to run digital ads. This is a game changer. As a social media manager, we focus a lot on organic content, but once you learn how to run ads and target people in local areas by their interests or their website journey, you can literally double your client's income. You can increase their sales. You can build an audience quicker. I mean, the list goes on and on. So I train my students on Facebook ads, TikTok ads, and running ads on Instagram. If you're interested, definitely check out the link below. But next, I want to remind you all that social media management does not include graphic design or email marketing. I want to make sure no one is getting taken advantage of and someone isn't abusing your skills. So if you are thinking about learning email marketing or graphic design, that has nothing to do with being a social media manager. And if you were to get a corporate position, they would already have a team for those tasks. So you don't have to feel insecure because you don't know how to create graphics or you don't really know much about email marketing. That is not our job. That is above our pay grade, all right? And the last thing before we close out this video that I want you to remember is a strong portfolio and a personal brand can take you way further in this field than any degree can. I promise you, you do not need a degree to become a social media manager or start a career in digital marketing. Now, for my students, I do provide a certification of completion. I think that allows my students to get really good roles in the corporate space, but also put more authority or credibility. They are going to corporate job interviews or when it comes to networking in the field. So if you are interested in becoming a social media manager in a few weeks, if you would like to learn copywriting, Facebook ads, pitching yourself, and more, definitely enroll in my program. I like to teach inside the program once a week. You'll also have 8 modules and access to all of the pre-recorded trainings. At the end of the program, you will receive a certification of completion, an endorsement on LinkedIn, personally from me, and you'll have access to a private community of other freelancers in the field. So I'm super excited for you guys to become social media managers. Comment below if you have already started your journey on getting your experience or pitching yourself out in the field. But if you are ready, definitely let me know when you enroll. That way I can call you personally, congratulate you, and we can get this Wi-Fi money together. Bye guys.